share some words about Drew Hickey.
Thanks.
Are you taping it?
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jeff Richardson. For those that didn't know Russ Herbert, I'm sorry because you would have enjoyed his company. Could I see a show of hands of people that actually remember Russ? Well, that's a lot. Russ passed away just over 20 years ago. Been very close. His widow Jan is here. Russ was one of us. He wasn't somebody that came outside the community. He was an attorney that practiced here in Decatur, and he was a guy that you could go out and have a beer with if you could stand sitting in a cloud of smoke. Which back then was a lot easier in the bars because everybody smoked. One of my proudest recollections of this bar association was when Russ got ill. And as I recall, and Jan can correct me, Ramona Sullivan was a very young lawyer in his office. Russ got sick. We all, and I mean all, banded together. There was a meeting when the courthouse was at the Ambassador Hotel while they were remodeling it. And just a whole bunch of people, probably as many as in this room, came down to ask how they could help and shoulder the load while Russ was ill. That's a really proud moment for our association that I remember. In any event, Land O'Lincoln called me and said, we have a winner or a nominee or whatever for the Russ Herbert Award, and we can't be there, and we'd like you, meaning me, to present it. And I thought it was because I was so eloquent and I could be witty and funny and everybody would laugh, etc. Until I saw the attachments. They said read Exhibit A first and then read Exhibit B second. So I decided the most important thing I could do is bring my glasses. So I'll set this down and read what they wanted read about Russ. And I do that because I respect Russ, and if they wanted it read, it's going to be read. Russ Herbert was born on March 6, 1951. He was admitted to the Illinois Bar in 1976. He became directing attorney of the Decatur office of Land O'Lincoln Legal Assistance in 1977 and continued in that capacity for 21 years until his untimely death at the age of 47 on May 14, 1998. He was a memorable figure with a beard like one of the apostles, that tirelessly served the poor with passion and intelligence. I'll digress. Remember what color all of Russ's suits seemed to be? If anybody said brown, you're the winner. He was a well...
He did have other suits, other colors. He just never learned.
Didn't learn, that's right. He was a well-respected attorney in Decatur. That's absolutely true, and had several warm friendships with members of the private bar. While a number of attorneys in Decatur, in the Decatur office, waxed and waned over the years until it became a satellite office and then closed, Russ was constantly engaged in zealously advocating on behalf of indigent clients in Macon County. He would regularly close 300 or more cases a year. Russ was a generalist and was known within the legal services community as having a broad encyclopedic knowledge of the law. He would regularly add new areas to his expertise, such as upgrading military discharges when it would help an individual client. He acquired phone books from small towns in Tennessee as a resource when he discovered that many residents of Decatur had family connections. He built a legal library for his home to supplement the resources of the office. Russ continues to inspire the many attorneys and law students who work for him as the memory of his commitment, his skill, and professionalism persist. These were products of the great spirit of a good man gone before his time. I realized why they wanted me to read this, because they said it much better than I could have. As to the winner of this year's award, that is Drew Hickey. I'll go on to the second page. You gotta listen. Drew is the award recipient this year. She accepted an adoption referral from the Champaign office of Land of Lincoln for a couple who had legal guardianship of a 9-year-old they had been caring for most his life. The father was unknown, and the mother had signed a final and irrevocable consent to adoption in 2013, but there were still complications in this case. One was that Drew determined Sangamon County was the appropriate venue for the adoption case. Another complication was that since it is a non-relative adoption, generally an expensive home and background study is required, and there were no resources to pay for the study. Drew persuaded the judge that the study could be waived in this case, but 2 hearings in Sangamon County were needed to get the adoption completed. The total number of hours in this case were 14.4 hours. In April of 2018, the unknown father's rights were terminated, and the child's name was changed as he had been permanently and legally become a member of that family.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Bar Association and the Executive Committee for all of their help this year and work this year. Thank you to Land of Lincoln Legal Assistance for this nomination. It's a true honor, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you to Jeff also for your remarks. While I've got the opportunity and the mic, I would like to thank my parents, John and Kim Robinson, who are here, and for all of their support. My husband, who asked me when I won this award, he said, "So are you going to start taking paying cases now?" And so yeah, I'll try. And I just want to say that we're all very lucky to be able to do what we love. Some days we love it more than other days, that's true. But we are privileged to be able to be educated and to have the specific skill set that we all have. So I believe that we should use that for the greater good whenever we can.